Let's continue to explore some of the very dark secrets lurking in the Epstein files. Specifically, I want to focus this video on the documents, the emails, the text messages in the Epstein files that were released that seem to suggest that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were either in direct or indirect communication with each other up until the time when Jeffrey Epstein died. I don't want to speculate. I just want to go through the text messages and emails with you, and you could form your own opinion about how long that relationship between Trump and Epstein lasted. A reminder, the documents that have been released by Trump's DOJ are not the full Epstein files. It's just been a partial release of the 3 million documents. Trump's DOJ is concealing at least 3 million more documents, which could equate to 25 to 50 million more pages of Epstein files. And I believe that what's not been produced is far more devastating than what has been produced. So why don't we take a look right here at some of the emails that Epstein was sending. Let's take a look at these messages between Jeffrey Epstein and Mark Epstein. This is dated March 19th to March 21st of 2018. And here's what's stated. Mark says the following to Jeffrey. "How are you doing? A while back, you mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now?" Again, March 19, 2018. The response is, "All good. Bannon with me," Jeffrey Epstein writes on March 19th of 2018. Then on March 21st, Mark Epstein writes, "Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba." And then they continue to talk about, "You and your boy Donnie can remake the movie Get Hard together. You mean Donnie T?" So that's March of 2018 right there. Why don't we fast forward? Then we'll rewind, but we'll fast forward to May 2019. These are text messages between Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon. We know earlier in the week, Donald Trump was posting photos of Steve Bannon saying, "Great guy who was treated very unfairly." But here's what Epstein and Bannon were up to May 2019. The following messages were sent. Epstein goes, "The financial statement rules extended in Trump land will keep the whole family safe from jail. Very, very clever. It will have to wait for our face-to-face. Trump had a fundraiser next door to my house on 71 yesterday." Bannon asks, "Did you drop by?" To which Epstein says, "I told them to ask if he wanted to come in for a massage." Trump's "I don't war" typical head fake. "You're wrong on this one. You are not getting out of paying your dollar. Forget it. I just went through my reasoning with someone in the know, and they said, oi." Why don't we take a look at what was being said, though, on December 26th of 2016 between Boris Nikolic and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Boris Nikolic was once a top advisor to Bill Gates, and Nikolic was actually the person who Epstein designated as his successor executor to his estate 2 days before Epstein died. Also, Nikolic and Epstein had lots of communications about Russia. And again, I'm not speculating. I'm going to read you. June 15th, 2015, Nikolic and Epstein said the following. "Thank you, Jeffries. This is redacted. Great meeting you. This is redacted. With my next email, I will introduce you to Ilya Pomonarov. He is a member of the Duma and perhaps one of the most prominent Russians in exiles. A few articles are about him below." But let's take a look at what was being said December 25th and December 26th of 2016. Boris Nikolic says the following to Epstein. "When are you back in New York City?" To which Jeffrey Epstein says, "4th in Palm with all the Trump boys. Fun." Then Nikolic says, "Have fun. Hope to see you on the 4th. I leave for San Francisco on the 5th. So Jeffrey Epstein, right around December 25th, 26th, is saying, I'm going to be having some fun with the Trump boys. Palm Beach with the Trump boys. Fun. Okay, just to see if Donald Trump was at Mar-a-Lago then, I went and checked. Donald Trump was. December 25th, 2016, Trump received standing ovation at Christmas Mass. They were in Palm Beach at that exact time when Epstein said he was going to hang out with the Trump boys and having fun in 2016. Now, you could decide for yourself if that meeting actually took place. But here's what Epstein writes to somebody by the name of Richard Merkin, an executive, on January 8th of 2017. Here's what's being said. Jeffrey Epstein writes to Merkin on January 8th, 2017, "You well?" Merkin responds, "Fair, and you?" Epstein responds, "All good with Trump. Lots of opportunity." Merkin says, "Where?" Epstein says, "New York." Donald Trump was indeed in New York during this period of time. And so that seems to suggest that they were either meeting or they were having communications together. But why don't we go back a little bit further? Donald Trump's story is that sometime after 2004, he and Epstein had no further communications, never heard from the guy ever again. Well, let's take a look at certain emails and judge for yourself. We have September 28th, 2012. This is Jeffrey Epstein internal messages about a party at Mar-a-Lago. And it says, Mar-a-Lago, regarding your response to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas. And this seems to be some sort of invite to Mar-a-Lago during this time period. Let's take a look over here. This is an email from Epstein regarding Trump. Telling an unnamed person not to bring black girls around Donald Trump. Epstein says Trump will be there, doesn't like black girls, and then they say a bunch of racist things and a lot more racist things here as well. And here's what's here's what's said in the email. January 22nd, 2013. Here are the messages from a person to Epstein. When we come up next month, I'm thinking about bringing redacted and redacted with us. They're up for anything. You'll love them. To which Epstein says, not a good idea. And then the person says, why? And then Epstein says, Trump will be there. Doesn't like black girls. And then he calls them, I don't want to say the name, won't go within 10 feet. And then the person SP says 10-4. So they are clearly going to a party together where Donald Trump is going to be there and talking about which girls they intend to bring there.
The world may feel like it's metaphorically on fire right now, but we also have to make sure we keep highlighting one truly existential issue that still isn't getting enough attention, and that's climate change. Because this is no longer about the distant future. This is urgent, and it's happening right now. A major new report warns that the environmental crisis is arriving decades earlier than scientists once expected. I want to highlight this new article in The Independent. It's called Climate Change is Here. Experts warn environmental crisis is decades ahead of forecasts. Be sure to check this out. So according to experts, the extreme events we were once told to expect in the 2050s and beyond are already here. Last year was the third hottest year on record, and the World Meteorological Organization says that 2025 has continued a run of extraordinary global temperatures. The EU now warns that the Paris Agreement's 1.5-degree threshold could be broken before 2030. Samantha Burgess of the Copernicus Climate Change Service put it bluntly. She said climate change is here, and we're seeing events today that models once predicted for the middle of the century. The oceans absorbed more heat in 2025 than any year in modern records. We've seen an increase in wildfires. The Atlantic saw 3 Category 5 hurricanes in a single year, including Hurricane Melissa, which intensified rapidly because of warmer seas, leaving communities with little time to respond. Research from the Grantham Institute shows that climate change has tripled heat-related deaths during European heat waves. In the global south, the impacts are even more devastating and often underreported, with deadly floods in Pakistan and severe drought across East Africa. The International Federation of the Red Cross warns that these disasters are piling on top of existing crises, pushing vulnerable communities to the brink. And even in what insurers like Swiss Re call a, quote, quiet year, economic losses still approached historic averages. These are not normal conditions. I want to be clear about this. This is the reality of climate change now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make it clear that you care about these issues because we're going to keep covering them and we're not looking away. Okay, Ben, back to you.
As Joni Ascola says as well, the media is missing one of the biggest stories in the emails that show that Epstein was working, at least with the Russians, about Donald Trump, leading up to some of the critical meetings that were taking place between Trump and Putin. So take a look at this message right here, June 24th of 2018. This is what Jeffrey Epstein is writing to Thorbjørn Jagland, the former prime minister of Norway. I think you might suggest to Putin that Lavrov can get insight talking to me. Vitaly Churkin used to, but he died? Question mark, everyone knows that Churkin died. Churkin died in Manhattan under very mysterious circumstances 1 year before, which everybody believed Putin killed Churkin. That's widely believed about what happened. And Churkin was one of the top Russian diplomats within the United States, an oligarch who died mysteriously in 2017. And Epstein was working undisputably with Churkin and giving information about Donald Trump. I mean, that's an undisputed fact at this point. What they were saying, we don't know. Then Thorbjørn Jagland, the former prime minister of Norway, who had a top job in the European Council as well, said, I'll meet Lavrov's assistant on Monday and will suggest, thank you for a lovely evening. I'll come to UN high-level week. And then they had the conversation. Churkin was great. He understood Trump after our conversations. It's not complex. He must be seen to get something. It's that simple. And this was right before the Helsinki meeting as well. Let's go through some of these other messages, shall we? Tom Barrack, who is currently the United States ambassador to Turkey and special envoy to Syria, is mentioned throughout these messages. Here's what Epstein says to Peter Thiel in 2016. Don't know how well you know Tom Barrack. He is great. Who's that? He will be a speaker at the convention. He runs Colony Capital, solid, great real estate judgment, Donald's fundraiser. So they're talking about people who they're putting in these positions of power. One of the things also that's stated throughout these files is it appears that Epstein was being consulted by people in the Trump regime, and he has these conversations with Larry Summers about who's going to be Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary pick to replace Steve Mnuchin. December 25th, 2018. Let's take a look at what these messages say right here. Larry Summers says, call tonight. Will you be visiting Mar-a-Lago? And then so they're asking, will Epstein be going to Mar-a-Lago in 2018? To which Epstein responds over here, being asked for 3 names to replace Mnuchin, the former Treasury Secretary. What number are you at? Then obviously Larry Summers and Epstein are having a call to make suggestions to the Trump regime about, or the first Trump administration, about who would replace Steve Mnuchin as the Treasury Secretary. So just take a look at all of those messages that I just shared with you there. Just a reminder where Donald Trump lived, where he lives, Mar-a-Lago, where Jeffrey Epstein lives, 358 El Brillo Way. You see how close they are together right there. In the files, you can see what a great relationship Epstein had with MBS, the crown prince, the effective leader of Saudi Arabia, Donald Trump's bud. Remember when Donald Trump met with MBS? I mean, just look at Epstein and MBS in the Epstein files and take a look at an excited Trump starts grabbing at MBS. Here, play this clip.
It's another league, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. When remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you get the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, You shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump.
Then, of course, you have this declaration dated June 18th, 2016, linking Trump and Epstein from a Tiffany Doe. I personally witnessed defendant Trump telling the plaintiff she shouldn't ever say anything if she didn't want to disappear like the 12-year-old female, and that he was capable of having her whole family killed. After leaving the employment of Mr. Epstein in the year 2000, I was personally threatened by Mr. Epstein that I would be killed and my family killed, as well if I ever disclosed any of the physical and sexual abuse of minor females that I had personally witnessed by Mr. Epstein or any of his guests. I am coming forward to swear to the truthfulness of the physical and sexual abuse that I personally witnessed of minor females at the hands of Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein, including plaintiff, during the time of my employment through the years 1990 to 2000 for Mr. Epstein. I swear to these facts under penalty of perjury. By the way, in 2017, you had Epstein telling Larry Summers, really, I've told you, I've met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. Yes, very dangerous. You have Epstein speaking with a New York Times reporter who's saying, I'm kind of shocked that our reporters did not contact you regarding the Trump women story. Seems he got off rather lightly, to which Epstein says, me too here as well. You have Epstein in 2015 saying, one more week till birthday. Where are you? I hope David Koch got your message. Donald's financial disclosure is his Achilles heel right here. He got that message. Let's go through if there's any more that I think we should all look at together. Epstein to Peter Thiel, August 2016. Donald's New York supporters concern. We can talk if you like. He cannot release his tax returns. What are his options? They seem to be going over a plan before the November 2016 elections right there. What else do we got that I think is of note to share with you? July 16, 2017, Epstein to Nicholas Ribbs. Saw Matt C with DJT at golf tournament. I know why he was here. Funny. Again, they're talking about all this stuff and where Donald Trump is together. They're talking about this guy's the real deal. He would like to introduce you to the head of the right-wing party. I told him after November, Donald's head would explode if he knew you were now buds with the guy who on Monday will decide the Nobel Peace Prize. I told him next year it should be you when we settle China, defeat China. So you have Epstein back then recognizing how important the Nobel Peace Prize is with Donald and talking about, working through that together. I could keep going. So I ask you to form your own opinions right here about what you think. What you think after seeing all those files. Do you think that they were in communications or not? Do you think the truth is that their communications really ended in 2004? I could read you more stuff. I want to also leave you with this as well. You have Donald Trump now saying that he feels bad that former President Clinton is going to testify publicly about the Epstein, or that Clinton wants to testify publicly regarding the Epstein files. And so now Donald Trump's like, oh, I feel bad for Bill Clinton. He shouldn't have to. Are you scared that former President Clinton's going to testify publicly now? And that's putting pressure on you? Here, play this clip.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me.
Anyway, let me know what you think right there. Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million, and thanks for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.